Do you like video games? Ones where you have a party of fully fleshed out characters who are interesting, and turn based combat that is mildly fun, a good story, and very, very good music? Well, I have just the game for you. Wrong one. It's this one. So recently, I've been playing Persona 4. I originally bought it around when I first built my PC, but I never finished it, and I've been really wanting to play for a while, so I've been going through more of the game, and I decided, why not do a review? Plus, it's a good game, and the music is phenomenal. Why wouldn't I do it? So, let's begin.
Now let me be clear.
In Persona 4, you play as the protagonist Yuna Urkami, who is sent to the town of Inaba for schooling because his parents are busy. He was probably sent away because he's pretty much a blank slate like most silent protagonists, and you have to define his personality. And he is picked up by his uncle Dojima and his cousin Nanako. He also meets a gas station attendant, although it's not major at all. It has no impact on the story, he just talks to her. And he heads home, stuff like that. He goes and sets up his stuff for school and gets everything ready, and he has a dream. And in this dream, he is attacked or kind of spoken to by a entity who's telling him that he will have a great mystery ahead of him. And he meets, as he goes to school, he meets this guy called Yosuke, and they become friends. And what happens is that one of Yosuke's co-workers goes missing, so you go looking for her, right? But what you find instead is a odd TV world, which you accidentally stumble into by sticking your hand inside of it and not being able to remove it. And here you meet Teddy. And the story kind of kicks off from there. Essentially, it is a detective mystery where you are trying to figure out who is the culprit behind a set of murder cases. Each one not exactly having a connection, but each one also having a connection at the same time. And you uncover more and more cases. I think the story is pretty good. It sets up good intrigue. It draws you in immediately. Sometimes it has some low beats, but sometimes it is amazing, and for good reason. It's a mystery setup with some supernatural elements. Those stories are always incredibly fun. Who does not enjoy a good mystery novel or a good TV show with detectives and stuff? I enjoy those thoroughly. I think other people would have a, intrigue in them too. There isn't much that I can say is bad, except for the filler areas, which are story beats and events that don't have any actual impact on the story. Usually, they happen because they need to pad out time, but that's with most games. You never have any, perfect game where there's not going to happen, and you'll have a specific spot where time needs to be padded out and you need to extend the game. But I do feel that they are the lower point of the entire game in general. I think there's a pretty good bit of foreshadowing for how things happen in the game. It's well thought out. I don't have big gripes with it. It's just a good game. That's really all I have to say about the story, though. So, unlike with most games, I'm not going to talk about the main cast of characters. There are a lot of them, and they're very interesting, but there are also a lot of them, and instead of doing a base summary, I think I'm going to talk about two characters who you meet at the beginning of the game, that being Nanako and Dojima. Dojima is a detective who is constantly working late and is unable to take as much care of his daughter Nanako as he would like to. And Nanako is his daughter and your cousin, who, because of her father constantly working, has become more and more self-efficient. She cooks dinner for herself. She gets herself ready for school. She has started to grow up faster than most kids because of there only being one parent in the household, and that parent being absent for a large period of the day, which happens to a lot of families. Another thing is that Nanako's mother has passed away, and both miss her quite a bit, but Dojima seems to bury himself more and more in his work, constantly trying to kind of forget. And Nanako becomes more and more sort of sad, feeling like her dad doesn't even want to interact with her. And as you enter, you become Nanako's friend, companion. You know, you start helping her with work, you talk with her when she stays up late, you take care of her in place of Dojima for a decent amount of time. And Dojima starts to realize that he needs to actually interact with his daughter. He needs to, you know, give her attention and not make her feel like she isn't even wanted. And it's hard for him to do this because all of his work constantly is getting in the way. In fact, sometimes he has to choose between work and his daughter. And he starts to learn that choosing work isn't always the best idea, because his daughter and him will become more and more estranged if he forgets about her far too much. In my opinion, this is something that happens to a decent amount of families. A lot of parents become more estranged to the kid, or there's only one parental figure in the household, and it's sad. But I like that you come in, just a cousin, you know, just someone who, a relative even, who just comes in to live because that's where your parents need you to do at the moment, and you come in and attempt to actually help, because there's not really much else to do. And eventually you end up repairing the relationship between the two. And I think that's just really nice.
Come da porta picchita va bene, se tu la parla miezza americano, quando si fa l'amore sotto la luna.
You know, if I were to describe the combat of Persona 4, it would be very satisfying and very fun. You know, a little bit of explosiveness. The way it works is it's called press turn, and press turn relies on hitting enemy weaknesses. And whenever you hit an enemy weakness, they fall down like a stack of dominoes, and you can attack again, and again, and again, as long as you hit each of their weaknesses. Now here's the funny part. Your enemies can do the same, and it's mildly scary when you have the upper hand and then suddenly you are all knocked down and being burned alive by, you know, 5 different shadows. That's the combat. It's pretty simple. You can also create different personas to help you fight, level up, basic RPG stuff. The other end of the coin is that the game plays like a dating sim. You know, the ones you've seen everywhere on Steam. And your goal is to level up your relationships with people, aka your social links. And when you do, you get the ability to summon better personas from a different class, and they get more and more perks. It's an interesting system. I will say it is very fun. Also, this game has a unique thing called shuffle time, and after combat, if you killed every enemy in one turn, or you defeated them with an all-out attack, you get to choose a bunch of cards. If you get all of them, you get a shuffle bonus, and you automatically get it for the next fight. And you get personas and items and skills through shuffle time. Basically, it's just goofy, and it's very funny. But it is very fun as well. In conclusion, Persona 4, it's a good game. It's just fun. I haven't finished it yet myself, and there's a lot that I still need to get through, but if you like RPGs in general, it's pretty much like a must-do. And it's also like older than most video games. It came out in 2008. Look, go play it if you haven't. You can buy it on Steam. That's all I have to say. I don't have many other thoughts. Bye.